MHz ติดตามรับฟังผ่านทางเว็บไซต์ได้ที่ www.trangradio.net จากนี้ไปขอเชิญท่านติดตามรับฟังรายการ Harbinger ค่ะ
And welcome to May 17, Thursday. You're listening to Radio Thailand 91.25 megahertz in Trang. And that's an interesting introduction. Welcome to Super Harbinger. Anyway, today we want to make sure that everyone is driving a little bit more carefully today in the Trang province. It's raining out there, so the road is slick. So let's use a little bit of caution and a little bit more care. Remember, the objective is to get wherever we need to go safely. Anyway, so that's our well wish for today on Thursday, May 17. You're listening to the Harbinger program. This is a program brought to you by the Prince of Songkhla University Trang campus, Faculty of Commerce and Management, the English department. I'm your host this afternoon, Rob Santos. And today what we do is we have rereadings of words and their stories written by the writers of Voice of America's words and their stories. And today what we try to do is to explain and use words that are common in everyday expressions. And we tell you a little bit of how they came to be and also demonstrate for you verbally how they are used in sentences or in particular appropriate situations. So today we still have one more announcement, and that is to the students of PSU Trang campus, and of course to all the other students. Your finals are over for many of you, and now your instructors are busy grading your scores and remembering, did you attend class all the time? That might have made the difference between if you got a very passing grade or a grade that is not what you had expected, and it was all due because of your attendance. So moving on, we wish all the people who are taking their vacation, those are people such as the food sellers and the other people who help support the students, that you enjoy your vacation as well. Okay, that takes care of announcements for today. So let's continue on with words and their stories, and our first story today is called Get Ready to Have Your Mind Blown. And that was kind of an interesting introduction and an appropriate introduction for having your mind blown. Well, today we're going to talk about a simple verb. Actually, it's two words. It's to blow. Right. Now, my friends, both Mr. Kent and Miss Joanne would have a different take on the simple verb to blow. However, in this case, it means sometimes the word means to push out air out of your mouth, like when a child blows bubbles or when you blow out candles on your birthday cake. You can also blow your nose when you're sick. And of course, when you love someone, you may blow them a kiss. Those expressions are easy to understand, but it doesn't mean to blow someone's cover. Here's a hint. A spy might worry about her cover being blown, especially if she uses a false name and a made-up life story. When someone's cover is blown, that means the person's real identity is discovered. But even among us non-spies, we can use this expression. Anytime you present a false information and then you let the truth slip out, you have blown your cover. Being discovered when you're trying to hide or can be very upsetting. You could become angry. In such times, you might blow your stack or blow your top. You could also blow a fuse or blow a gasket. This all means to get so angry that you lose control. You're listening to Radio Thailand, FM 91.25 megahertz in Trang, and this is the Harbinger program. And we're talking about expressions that use the word blow on with them. So, moving on. So, being discovered when you're trying to hide can be very upsetting. So what happens is that you become angry and you do things like blow your stack or you blow your top. You could also blow a fuse or blow a gasket, and these all means to get angry that you just lose control. So be careful when you are blowing your stack, your top, your fuse or gasket. When you're so angry, you make mistakes. For example, if you blow your stack while taking a test, you might blow it. In other words, you failed, or you fail as a result of your own actions. You can also blow an important assignment at work. You can blow it with a personal relationship. Ultimately, with almost anything, you can blow it. Blowing it is really upsetting, so to blow off steam, you might go for a long walk in the woods or in the park or along the beach, even better. Blowing off steam helps us to relax and when we are angry or upset. Think of a teapot. It releases steam when it gets too hot. The same can be said for us. Now, let's talk about grammar for a moment. As you know, As you know, when we use the active tense of the verb, the subject is doing the action. In the passive tense, the subject is receiving the action. So, for example, we often use the expression mind blown in the passive tense. You can have your mind blown by just about anything that really is good. I've had my mind blown by a really smart movie or a really delicious meal. You can also turn this expression around and make it active. For example, I can say, I had an amazing Saturday night. That movie and that meal really blew my mind. We can commonly use the expression as an adjective. Let's say you're a great soccer player or footballer, and your abilities to dribble and score are mind-blowing. In fact, in your last season, in every game you played, it was a blowout. In other words, your team beat the other team by many points. Now, let's say that during one of those blowout games, you scored the most points. So, when a reporter interviews you, you can take credit for the win. You even criticize your teammates for almost blowing the game with all their mistakes. As a result, your team gets upset with you, and your fans are not too happy either. You blew your own horn too much is the expression. When you talk about yourself or you talk about your expertise or your positive attributes, that is called blowing your own horn, or you blew your horn too much. Now again, when people blow their own horn, they talk too much and too proudly about their own successes. The words may be music to their ears, but they rarely enjoy listening to people blowing their own horns. Okay, you're listening to Radio Thailand, FM 91.25 megahertz in Trang. And this is the Harbinger program, and we're talking about expressions with the word to blow. Now, moving on, let's return to our soccer game example here. Now, everyone is angry with you after you blew the press conference, so you decide to leave town for a few days just until the bad press blows over. When a storm blows over, it passes. If I look out the window and I see that the dark clouds moving quickly and the blue skies are in the distance, I can say, "Don't worry, this storm will blow over soon." Happily for us, problems can blow over too. See, we have many thousands of expressions that use the word blow. Okay, not really thousands, but several hundred. I'm blowing things out of proportion. When you blow something out of proportion, you seem to make it bigger and more important than it really is. Since we're talking about making a big deal out of something, we have fun expressions that mean the same thing. If you make a small problem into a bigger one, you've made a mountain out of a molehill. And that's this week's stories for Words in Their Stories. I promise I won't blow off my weekly assignment of writing another story, but because that would mean I'd have to do something I was supposed to do. This was written by Annie Mateo, and when it all blows over, can we start again? When we've grown older, will you love me again? Say you love me again. Gene Kelly was the editor, and the song was from Echoes. Now, the words in the story, we have a few that I want to emphasize. Bubble. Bubble's a noun, and it's a very light ball of air inside a thin layer of water or soap. Slip out is a phrasal verb. Two words that go together. It means to be said by mistake. Stack is a tall chimney or a factory, ship or whatever, for carrying away smoke, so we say smokestack. Fuse, it's a noun. It's a device that causes electricity to stop flowing when the current becomes too strong. Gasket, that's a noun. It's a rubber, well, actually it's a piece of rubber or something other than rubber or other material that can be used to make a tight seal between two parts that are joined together. And proportion, the relationship that exists between the size, number, or amount of two things. And lastly, molehill. It's a small pile of dirt that is pushed up by a mole, which is a little animal, when it digs tunnels underground. Okay, well, it's time for a station break. We have more on the Harbinger program on Radio Thailand 91.25 FM, megahertz and Trong. Stay tuned. We have more. And welcome back. You're listening to Radio Thailand 91.25 megahertz in Trang. And that was an interesting blast from the past. Well, remember, if you wish to study English, English is all around. And one of the easiest ways to study English on your own is actually to read. Yes, I know many people don't like to read, especially nowadays. But even if you're reading off the internet or off your iPad or your phone, there is English that's available, and that's one way to develop your skills, because English is all around and you can do that. However, what is available to read around Trang? Well, you have a lot of menus at restaurants. They're bilingual now. You have, of course, the internet and many articles. Some of the print matter, such as the Bangkok Post or some of the things that you have on The Nation are good to look at. And then some of the stores have books that are what we call graded readers. And some of the graded readers are from levels 1 to 6. And what I like about the graded reader is that they also have the explanations in Thai, especially vocabulary. Because let's face it, one of the biggest challenges for studying a language is vocabulary. And if you have to transition between English and in Thai and always consulting your dictionary, it's not very fun. But anyway, so English is all around, and you can probably, one of the best ways I suggest is that you should continue reading or expand your reading and read all types of things. It's probably the best way. Well, now our last segment on the Harbinger program is we bring in the word full court press. Now, you might know full court press is a basketball technique or strategy for denying someone the basketball when we play. Well, again, Words in Their Stories are programs written by Voice of America's English program, and they explore the meaning of words and expressions used in everyday American English. So let's begin. People all over the world love sports. Some of us play sports for fun. Some like to stay in shape. A few for the love of the game, and even play to win. So if you play to win, you better have a game plan. A game plan is just like it sounds. It's a plan to win the game. But we use this expression just for about almost everything. If a friend says, "Hey, let's take a trip this weekend," you could answer, "Sure, what's the game plan?" If your business is facing competition from another company, you might need to change your game plan and beat them in sales. But let's return to the world of sports. Now, many English expressions come from how we play sports. For example, we play some sports such as baseball, football, soccer, as we call it in American English, on the field. We play basketball on a court. And that leads us to our next expression, a full court press. Now, court in this case has nothing to do with a trial or judges or defendants. It's a basketball court, and press does not mean the newspaper or the news. In basketball, it means a very forceful effort by one team to take control of the game. So in everyday life, press means to put pressure on someone to do something. That's right, in everyday life, press means to put pressure on someone to do something. Of course, this does not work with everyone. With some people, the more you press them, the more they will not do what you ask. And we all have experience with that. Now, teachers have a lot of experience with this when we press our students to try to achieve more than they can. And then sometimes they move forward, and then some, they just remain the same. But we continue to try. For those who don't watch sports, a basketball team scores by putting the ball through the basket of the opponent's end of the court. Then the team usually runs back quickly to their other end of the court to defend the basket, or their basket. The players try to keep running from the other team from scoring. However, in a full court press, a team does not retreat after it scores. Instead, it attacks or pressures an opponent with a very aggressive defense. You're listening to Radio Thailand FM 91.25 megahertz in Trang. And we're talking about the words using full court press. So again, when we say full court press, if a team doesn't retreat after it scores, instead it attacks or pressures its opponent with a very aggressive defense. So when someone decides to make an extra effort strong, they get something done, that person is making a full court press. You could say a full court press is an all-out effort. Okay, let's say that again. So if you're making a full court press on your finals, that means you're making an all-out effort. So do not say full court press for a basketball game. You can use this expression anywhere, anytime. Use it in a situation where you want to meet a goal or to solve a problem. For example, we can use it in the world of many other things. It can be in sports, it can be in politics, it can be in many other areas. But let's go back to sports. We have many areas that we can use this particular nice expression, full court press. So we can even use it when we talk about business. The clothing company planned a full court press to beat its competitors during the profitable Christmas buying season. They cut their prices, they planned an in-store special event, and they gave prizes to attract more customers. And lastly, we can use it in our personal lives. When Sally ran into health problems, her friends used the full court press to help her out until she felt better. They cooked her meals, they cleaned her house, and they walked her dogs for her. So if you have a really important problem to solve or a project to do, make sure your game plan involves a full court press. Be aggressive and attack it from all sides. And that's Words in Their Stories for this week. It was written by Annie Mateo, and Marianne Cristiano wrote the story, and George Crow was the editor. On behalf of Prince of Songkhla University Trang Campus, Faculty of Commerce and Management, and Radio Thailand FM 91.25 megahertz in Trang, we wish you a good afternoon. Remember, it's raining out there, so let's drive a little bit safely. Well, let's drive a little bit slower, use a little bit more caution. Remember, it's not a race to get home. The objective is to get home safely. Well, that's all we have for this week. I'll see you next week on Radio Thailand's FM 91.25 megahertz in Trang. All right. Goodbye.
านีวิทยุกระจายเสียงแห่งประเทศไทยและเครือข่ายทั่วประเทศเสนอข่าวต้นชั่วโมงรู้เร็วรู้จริงเกาะติดทุกสถานการณ์
รับฟังข่าวต้นชั่วโมง 15 นาฬิกากับจิตตินันท์ตั้งประเสริฐค่ะไทยเตรียมเป็นเจ้าภาพจัดการประชุมยุทธศาสตร์ความร่วมมือทางเศรษฐกิจอิรวดีเจ้าพระยาแม่โขงครั้งที่ 8 อีกสักครู่กลับมาติดตามรายละเอียดค่ะ
สร้างความรู้ความเข้าใจการค้ามนุษย์ช่วยเหลือคุ้มครองผู้เสียหายจากการค้ามนุษย์บังคับใช้กฎหมายอย่างจริงจัง
นี่คือวาระแห่งชาติรัฐบาลมุ่งมั่นป้องกันปราบปรามการค้ามนุษย์
อุ๊ยพี่หมื่น
อ๋อพี่หมื่นจริงๆด้วยแม่ใครๆก็เรียกพี่หมื่นเพราะเปลี่ยนถ่ายน้ำมันเครื่องเกรดสังเคราะห์10,000 กิโลพร้อมไส้กรองที่ B Quick วันนี้เริ่มต้นที่790ฟรีประกันฟรีค่าแรงนะขอรับมาเปลี่ยนเป็นพี่หมื่นเปลี่ยนน้ำมันเครื่อง10,000 กิโลได้ตั้งแต่เวลานี้ถึง31พฤษภาที่ B Quick ทุกสาขา B Quick โทร1153
พี่หลาน
นั่นหัวพี่จะไปเคี่ยนหลังขาด
หมายมิตซูบิชิไมช้อยสวัสดีค่ะซื้อรถมิตซูบิชิวันนี้เลือกรับข้อเสนอช้อยไหนดีคะ Happy Choice ผ่อนสบายดอกเบี้ยพิเศษ 0.88% หรือ Easy Choice ผ่อนเบาๆ8 ปีหรือ Care Choice แพ็กเกจ5 ปีดูแลดีถึงใจรับทันทีฟรีประกันภัยชั้น1รับประกันคุณภาพพร้อมฟรีค่าแรงเช็คระยะ5 ปีรวมมูลค่าสูงสุด 60,000 บาทถึง30มิถุนายนนี้ My Mitsubishi My Choice ข้อเสนอโดนใจที่